20,000 people die of cancer every day. In the 1900s, 1 person out of 20 would get cancer. In the 1970s, 1 person out of 10. Today, 1 person out of 3 gets cancer in the course of their life.
In the United States, 1 in every 4 people die from cancer.
If you want to get a lot of people very angry at you, and you're in the health profession, it's fairly simple. Begin to cure incurable diseases.
It would ruin the economy. Billions of dollars.
Cancer is one of the richest multi-billion-dollar industries in the world, and every cancer patient is a commodity.
The huge pharmaceutical companies have everybody in their pocket, from the president on down to the senators, representatives. Everybody gets paid. There are laws against healing cancer. The doctor is not allowed to try anything else. He must use only those treatments that have already proven to be failures. Imagine what we could do if this could be accepted. But there are laws against it. You're not allowed to heal. There's too much money to be made on drugs.
The FDA passed a law. They wrote their own law, and it says only a drug can be used to treat, prevent, or cure a disease. Which means if I say an orange cures scurvy, I go to prison. That's illegal in America.
If there is a medicinal claim, which means that the product is used to assist, support, correct a particular disease or disorder, you immediately come under medicinal law.
So hold on a second. That means that even if you had a proven natural remedy, a natural cure, if you like,
you're not allowed to sell it or promote it.
Having a product and making a cancer claim is one of the best ways of finding yourself behind bars.
Take a close look at this guy. He's in a maximum security prison in Westchester with some of the most dangerous criminals in the state. His bail's been set at almost $1 million, but he's not a murderer. He's not a rapist or a drug dealer. Believe it or not, the reason this guy's behind bars is because of these apricot seeds. Yup, apricot seeds. And it's what he says these seeds can do that has landed him in jail.
All I want to do is help. I want to heal. I want to bring out the truth.
His name is Jason Vale.
It's in the food. It's in the seed. Let me take back the word cure. I don't want to be in trouble for saying the word cure, which you can't say.
But the reality is Jason is in big trouble as he sits in jail awaiting sentencing on contempt charges.
Statement that is made or claims. Now, I have never made statements of claims of cures. That's one of the worst things you could possibly use, that one word, cure. They hate that word, but the devil hates holy water. This cure proposition.
This is a cesspool, and the American people are left helpless.
We started out on the wrong foot, we stayed on the wrong foot for 100 years, and we are paying the price.
Heavy trading today in the biopharma sector.
Blockbuster cancer drug Erbitux racked up nearly $425 million in sales.
You have this entire industry that is not going to just pack up and go away. This is a business.
But there's some good news. Canadian research team has come up with DCA. They believe it's a cheap and simple drug that kills almost all cancers. You heard that right. The real story is you can't have it. Not because it's unsafe, but because your blood's going to shoot out of your eyes, because it doesn't make any money. You and I know there's big money to be made when pharmaceutical companies develop new life-saving drugs. But the gravy train doesn't last for long. After investing millions and millions of dollars into research and to the development of a new drug, companies only have a few years to make their money back, plus a profit, before their patent expires and competing companies can make a generic form of the same drug. So, back to this Canadian team and DCA. They're working out of the University of Alberta in Edmonton, Canada, and scientists have tested DCA on human cells cultured outside the body. They found that it killed lung, breast, and brain cancer cells, but not healthy cells. Got it? That's revolutionary. This is bordering on a cancer miracle. Tumors in lab rats that were deliberately infected with human cancer also shrank drastically when they were given DCA. So, where's the problem? Well, since DCA has no patent, that means it can be made generically from day one. No exclusivity equals no value. You know, I heard that today and I thought, you know, once in a while, maybe capitalism needs to be reminded of the value of human life.
There are a lot of people, I've heard many people say, well, anger, not helpful. Actually, anger is helpful depending on what you do with it. And I think if people actually knew what was happening, they would be really pissed off. They should be.
Alternative medicine is, I mean, there's only medicine. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Well, that's not how this country works. Actually, alternative medicine often is illegal in this country. You can go to jail for practicing.
Like such as what?
Such as even suggesting any alternative treatment for cancer can wind. You don't understand how much the pharmaceutical companies have their tentacles wrapped around the government in this country. Yes, you can go to jail for practicing alternative medicine.
For selling people.
Think about it. You know, you've got thousands of doctors in oncology and in oncology residency programs. You've got the pharmaceutical industry pumping out chemotherapeutic agents every month. There are all kinds of machines that deliver radiation. You got all this stuff in the war on cancer, and it's trillions of dollars. I find it very interesting that we have all these walks for the cure of cancer. You got all the risk factors. You got all the donations. We're going to find a cure this decade. All this money keeps pouring in, and it all goes to the same guys.
What cigarette do you smoke, Doctor? More doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette. See how Camels agree with your throat.
It is very important for the Orthodox people to keep patients from coming to alternative treatments because they work. People have been so brainwashed for so long.
The reason that the food manufacturers are telling the public that it's safe is because they're making a huge profit off of it.
You have Monsanto, DuPont, Bayer, Syngenta, and Dow. Those are the big 5 companies behind genetically engineered foods, and they all share one thing in common. They're not agricultural companies, they're chemical companies.
Cancer is a big business, one of the biggest businesses.
What we want to do is we want to match the disease with the cure.
The doctors from that point forward in history would be taught pharmaceutical drugs.
The monthly supply of sunitinib, a chemotherapy drug produced by Pfizer, cost almost $7,000.
And the gifts escalate to free lunches, to dinners.
Champagne, brunches, happy hours.
In 2004, their combined global sales were over $500 billion.
The drug industry is the most successful global industry in the world. What they don't want you to do is get better, because if you get better, their market's gone.
A better thing to talk about, however, is the relationship between profits and cancer in the United States. There was a study that was published, I believe it was in 1994. It was a 12-year program, 12-year study. They looked at adults who had developed cancer as an adult, not childhood cancer, but adult cancer, right? And this is the main types of cancer that we get here in the United States. They did a meta-analysis of these people all around the world who developed cancer as adults for 12 years and were treated with chemo. And they looked at the results. And they published the results in the Journal of Clinical Oncology. And the results? 97% of the time, chemotherapy does not work. 97% of the time, it doesn't work. So why is it still used? It's one reason and one reason only. money. If you go to a medical doctor, an MD, with a sinus infection, and that doctor prescribes an antibiotic, he gets no financial kickback. Now, if he prescribes 5,000, of that antibiotic in 1 month, the drug company that makes it might send him to Cancun for a conference, right? But he gets no direct remuneration. It's not with chemotherapeutic drugs, it's different. Chemotherapeutic drugs are the only classification of drugs that the prescribing doctor gets a direct cut of. So if your doctor prescribes chemotherapy for you, here's how it goes, more or less. The doctor buys it from the pharmaceutical company for $5,000, sells it to the patient for $12,000, insurance pays $9,000, and the doctor pockets the $4,000 difference. And there ought to be a law. The only reason chemotherapy is used is because doctors make money from it. Period. It doesn't work 97% of the time. If Ford Motor Company made an automobile that exploded 97% of the time, would they still be in business? No. This is the tip of the iceberg of the control that the pharmaceutical industry has on us. Most people have no idea. When women get together and do a 5K run for breast cancer, all of that money, do you think any of that money goes to nutritional research? Do you think any of that money goes to homeopathic research or acupuncture or traditional Chinese medicine or naturopathic research? No. All of it goes to drugs and surgery, which do not work. Now, why aren't those women running for selenium? If every girl in this country took 200 micrograms of selenium, in 1 generation we'd eliminate breast cancer by 82%. That's a big number. Why aren't we doing that? Because medicine in the United States is a for-profit industry, and most people are completely unaware of this, and most people bow down to the altar of MD-directed high-tech medicine at their own demise.
They cannot work. Dr. Tutu Simoncini, oncologist himself in Rome, Italy, stated that the medical profession has a cancer cure rate of 2%. In my experience and a lot of colleagues, 27% of all people that have cancer and do nothing get cured. They don't know why, but they get cured. So that means the medical profession statistically even kills the 25% that would have had survived.
There's no such thing as a safe drug. By the time a drug's approved and it hits the general population, we don't know even 50% of the side effects that are involved with that drug. We were being trained to misinform people. I spent 15 years in the pharmaceutical industry working for some of the major manufacturers. It wasn't like I woke up one morning and said, I need to get out of pharmaceutical sales. It was actually an awakening process for me. It was a spiritual and consciousness process where, as I started observing what was happening, what some of the drugs were doing, the misinformation, the disinformation, that I was being encouraged to minimize side effects when I talked to doctors, I started to recognize that these patients were literally being tortured by the drugs that they were given.
Something's terribly wrong when you treat cancer and your hair falls out and you vomit. This is truly medieval.
People in the United States and developed countries who are treated for cancer don't even die of cancer. They die of the treatment of cancer.
When you look at the hard numbers, our current cancer treatments are appallingly ineffective. But when it comes to taking money from people by making false claims, no one does it better than conventional mainstream medicine. A cure is just around the corner has been the standard public relations pitch used to pump money into the cancer industry. The medical profession generally considers any drug with less than 30% effectiveness to be no better than a placebo. What you see from studies conducted over the last 50 years is that for our major cancers, the effectiveness of conventional treatments is far less than a sugar pill.
Their premise is, the idea behind all of this is, if you have a garden with flowers and bushes and trees and grass and some weeds. You come with Agent Orange and you kill it all off. And now it's all dead. And now you hope only the good stuff comes back. The flowers and the trees and the bushes. And the weeds will not. What's usually coming back, and it's only the only thing that's coming back, are the weeds.
And those who survive are not really better off.
Many women who undergo chemotherapy for breast cancer describe unsettling changes to their memory and concentration.
When it's real noisy, I can't focus. It just makes me feel like my mind's being erased.
Parts of Elizabeth's brain weren't there anymore because of the radiation that had killed that part of the brain.
Despite such dismal results, for the last 100 years, official medicine has been telling us the same old story.
There is no serum, drug, or combination of drugs that we know that will definitely cure cancer.
We found that there's no convincing supporting evidence.
But you really wouldn't expect it to cure cancer.
There's absolutely no scientific evidence that he's cured anyone.
But some doctors tell a completely different story.
Here's the patient you sent home to die, cured. Other patients you sent home to die, cured.
And we now have in our files and our records many, many thousands of case histories and records, pathological proof that we do positively cure cancer.
And he said, "You think you have a cure for cancer?" I said, "I'm way beyond thinking I know."
He said, when we add Laetrile to a cancer culture under the microscope, we can see the cancer cells dying off like flies.
10 doctors found that the number of cures reaches into the thousands.
Breast and bladder cancer with the sodium bicarbonate can heal in 99% without surgery, without chemotherapy, without radiotherapy, and left the organs there.
And the cancer is gone?
Totally gone. For the first time, and I feel like I got my life back again.
It said I would never live to see my second grandchild, which he is now 19 years old.
You don't have cancer?
I don't have cancer anymore.
They said I was going to die in 24 hours, but I didn't.
God bless these quacks, the only quacks who are curing cancer today.
Why has every scientist who has proposed a new cure in the last 100 years been ignored, derided, discredited, or even put in jail?
It was really hard for me to consider that someone might actually be suppressing cures. And cancer has run through my family like a raging river. I found out that it's all about patents. If a pharmaceutical company can patent and make money from treatment, especially one that we have to keep on using, then that's what we get. Otherwise, we don't even hear about it. It's not just Rife who got shut down. Reen Case had an old Indian Ojibwe formula that was effective. Harry Hoxsey and Max Gerson had natural remedies that worked. But you know, if you go and you look them up, the AMA makes them sound like complete quacks. And that's where following the money has been so helpful, because the same powers who control the AMA and their research and funding control the pharmaceuticals. So there's a multi-trillion-dollar financial incentive to suppress cures that can't be patented.
An MRI 6 weeks after we started Dr. Brzezinski's treatment revealed no tumor. We were very overjoyed.
Now the FDA is saying to me, no, your doctor is a criminal, he should be put in jail, and he needs to be shut down. This is criminal.
There's a government institution that disseminates false information and is not looking out for the welfare of the people. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I swore an oath 11 years ago, and I think most of us in this room swore at one time or another to uphold the Constitution. It says life right in the beginning.
So, Ned, you've seen so far with working with cancer patients and Dr. Clark's formulas?
Great results, great recoveries, and I can say it because I'm not a medical doctor with my husband, as my husband is, so I can be more sincere with you. And because, you know, medical doctors also in Italy, they have to stay aware of the government.
So is there a legal problem with saying that you actually cure cancer?
Yes, of course there is. Yes, you cannot say you cure cancer. He was called by the government once, and they told him, you know, Dr. Pamphili, you're very famous, but you must watch out because you cannot say that you cure cancer. And he said, but I never did. But they told him, but there is some patients of you going around saying they've been cured, they were sick and now they healed, so how is it possible? So he said, they said it, I didn't say it, I mean, that's possible. Okay, but you know, the work of a doctor is more of a writing work, you know, you have to prescribe, you don't have to go on alternative medicine, you don't have to look so far, just, you know, prescribe drugs, don't worry. We've discovered Dr. Clark's protocol and we've seen that it's very, very effective.
We are helping people to heal by cancer. Yes, we have several people utilizing the principle by Dr. Lisa Clark, the black walnut, the vitamin C, the antioxidation, and the alkalinity diet, the alkalizing diet. And we have found very good results.
Many years from now, people look back at this time and wonder what kind of Neanderthals we were.
A prophet many years ago, he said, "My people perish for lack of knowledge."
You ask an oncologist what causes cancer, they say, well, we don't know. But we in integrative and alternative medicine know, because we're reversing it by getting rid of what causes it.
We have patients that were told they were going to die in 6 months or a year. They're alive after 20 years with excellent quality of life.
Yes, you can heal so-called chronic degenerative diseases, so-called incurable diseases. It's not a big problem.
We have treatments for cancer that are astounding. Even end-stage cancers are reversible.
Anybody ever tells you your body turned on you, slap them in the face and walk out. Your body will never turn on you. Your body loves you. You have 10,000 trillion cells and they all have a job to perform and they love performing it.